And hello there, my name is Daniel Lewis, and welcome to Today and Tomorrow Begin with Tea. I'll be your smile-obsessed host for today, and we've got an adventurous show for you today. Raelene Gannon of Tea in all of its splendor. Now, this was a coffee drinker turned tea enthusiast, and today we're going to find out why, first off, and also talk a little bit about tea, time, and temperature. Ladies and gentlemen, Raelene.
Hi.
How's it going, Raelene?
It's good. Thanks for inviting me to the show.
It is our pleasure. So, coffee drinker turned tea enthusiast. Where did that all start?
Well, you know, I tried to enjoy my morning cup of coffee, and it just didn't work out this one time. So I was actually in China, ironically, when this all happened. But on a business trip, I was in China, and I was having my morning cup of coffee, and it just didn't go down right. And I was like, well, this is crazy. Anyway, tried a couple more times in that trip. Just couldn't get through it, and I haven't had another cup of tea since. Or a cup of coffee, sorry. I drink tea all the time.
There you go.
But, you know, and then you want to replace it, and I always did drink some tea in the afternoon, and so I just kind of got, well, I may as well drink more of it, and I just kind of explored it in some weird way. I don't know how it happened that I fell upon realizing that there's a white tea, black tea, green tea,
all
oolong,
these different
varieties. And then I just started to explore it more and more, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Wow. Now, that's a huge jump. Coffee is known to have kind of a bolder taste. A lot of people like it for that reason. And tea is known to kind of be lighter. So is there different types of tea that people go for? Is there ones that are similar to coffee? How does that work taste-wise?
I would say a black tea would be more akin to a coffee, so that would be the first transition. If anyone was going to try and go from coffee to tea, I always suggest that. So if you're actually an avid coffee drinker, but you're really understanding and hear a lot about the health benefits of tea that we all hear about, the best way to move is move to a black tea. Then you can eventually get to a green tea, but I often caution people that are go from, you know, they want coffee, oh, I'm going to try green tea, and they almost always don't like it right away because it's not a good enough transition.
That taste, yeah.
You know, it's kind of like people that want to drink wine, they go to red wine. It's really harsh. So I say start with the black tea, then move to an oolong, and then a greener oolong, and then green tea. And if they take some time to do that journey, I think they'll really enjoy tea.
Okay, so now just give us a little background on that. What would I taste if I tasted a black tea? What would I taste if I tasted, let's say, a green tea or a white tea?
Well, black tea has a little bit more tannins to it. So there's a little bit more of a, you know, astringent, it's a darker taste. So it's a little bit more mouthfeel that way. You can also put milk and sugar in your black tea or lemon. Don't do both. Well, actually, the lemon actually will curdle the milk. So don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, don't do. You either got to be a lemon person or you got to be a milk and
one or the other.
Milk and sugar, right?
Okay.
But anyway, if you go, that's another way. If you drink your coffee with milk or cream, you know that's another reason to go to black tea because that'll help transition. You can do it, and then you can wean off of that too.
Makes sense.
So then if you go to a green tea, it'll be more of a vegetal, more of an astringent kind of a dry. So if you don't like vegetables, people often say I don't like green tea. But if you move that way, I think you'll enjoy it and go maybe to a fruitier green tea, and then you won't get that, you know, pure vegetal taste. So there is a good progression to take.
Now, it seems like you're obviously well versed in the tea and tea industry. Now, if I have this correct, one of 15 certified tea sommeliers in Canada, like the first 15. How did that unfold?
Right. Well, I was kind of in the second class of them. I took the very first class with the first group, and then I kind of wasn't sure. I'm like, you know, it was a really great class at George Brown is where I took it, and I was like, wow, I could really get into this. And so I had to really think about it. You know, it was a long drive because George Brown is downtown Toronto. I live way north of the city, so it's like an hour drive. So and I had a family, and so I had to really decide whether that's what I wanted to do. And then I thought, no, I did. So then I went back and took all the courses. So it's a 2-year course, 8 classes.
Wow.
So it's, you know, 3 hours a night, once a week for 8 weeks. So it's quite intense.
And what are you learning about tea?
Well, one of them is the first one is introductory. Then they go into tea origins. So then you'll do China, India, you know, and then you do green tea, black tea, and then you talk about manufacturing, you talk about tea menu and pairing. So that's kind of where I think I got the bug with the cooking in that class.
Nice.
I love that class. And then, so there's lots of different classes along the way. different parts of it. Now I actually go back and speak at George Brown and help them out and talk to them, you know, as, you know, this is what you can do after the class. You can go into business and have a tea business.
Right.
And I help and kind of do some coaching and help the students after the class. So I really enjoy that part too.
Wow. Now, I know a lot of people, that may want to get into tea, or even some people that are already drinking tea, find that, they're just boiling their kettles, pouring the water right onto it, and sometimes not ending up with the taste they were looking for.
Right. It is so important. There's, like I always say, there's the 3T. There's the, it's kind of like, again, akin to wine, but drinking the best tea you can afford, the best water, and then the time and the temperature.
So the water has a...
The water's important. Just think about this. If you go and have, it's the same actually for coffee as well, because tea is really like 93 to 96% water.
Wow.
So if your water isn't up to snuff, then your tea's not going to, it's going to affect it. They say actually the best water's in Seattle. And
Really?
that's why that's why actually coffee tastes so good there, because it's the water is so ideal to
Like
brewing
pure,
coffee
I
and tea.
guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Mineral-wise and everything. So a lot of people will do that. They'll buy a coffee or a tea,
Right.
and when they're on a trip and that they had this great tea, and they come home and they try and brew it, and it's not the same. You'll never get the exact same cup.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Well, it just makes you want to go back on your trip again.
Exactly.
But that's why water is so important. And at one of the classes we did at George Brown, we actually tried all the different waters. We tried a mineral water, distilled water.
Right.
Bottled water, tap water, and you can taste, some are salty, and you can really taste that. And you have to, practice that. It's like any profession.
Definitely.
You have to practice the taste and be able to taste that and whatever, but some are flat, some just don't bring out the right flavor. And you can really, it's a really neat exercise if you have the time, or if a customer really likes a tea, to see which one
kind of pick
the
and
difference.
choose.
Yeah.
Right. Well, tea, as you're learning here, there's a lot of different ways, a lot of different temperatures, times, and after the break, I know we have an exciting demonstration that we're going to do today, where we're going to actually get to see a tea brewed, see the time and temperature that it should be brewed at, because I find that a lot of people are experiencing sometimes a bitter taste or a dry throat. So I know that you're going to help us out after the break with that. Any recommendations you would say quickly with the temperature of water for, say, a green tea, which is one of the kind of the most typical teas?
Right. A green tea really honestly should be at about 85 degrees. That's what I like mine at.
Right.
There is a range depending on the flavor or what's in it, because sometimes if there's pieces in it like big pieces of fruit, you might want to do it a little bit higher to really get the flavor out of those.
Right.
That's why a lot of people do ranges for green and for black and that kind of thing. So that's what I would say. That's my ideal.
There
85.
we go. Well, all things tea with Raelene Gannon. After the break, we got a yummy demonstration for you. I'm your host, Daniel Lewis. And a terrific day to you all. My name is Daniel Lewis. I am the Tea Guy, Mr. T, and you are watching Today and Tomorrow Begin with Tea. We are having a lovely afternoon with Raelene Gannon from Tea and All of Its Splendor. Now, she's one of the first 15 certified tea sommeliers in Canada. So a load of information about tea, and we got a yummy demonstration about to happen today. Raelene.
Thanks.
How's it going?
It's good. It's good. I'm looking forward to getting into the tea drinking. I haven't had
Awesome.
enough tea
Yeah,
yet today.
I know, exactly. Could never get enough. So we said we're going to brew some tea here and talk about some tea, time, and temperature. What do we have here today?
Well, right now I thought we'd start with the black tea, because that's what we said. If a lot of people are trying to get into tea, black tea is the easiest, let's say, to get into.
Right.
And this is not your typical boring black tea by any chance. This one, for example, that I have here is an orange spice tea,
Okay.
which, if you can get a look at this, look at the big chunk of orange in there for sure. But there's cardamom, pink peppercorns, cinnamon. It basically is Florida meets the spices of Mumbai. It's a great chai
goodness.
orange. It's really nice. I actually use it in a lot of cooking.
Right.
That is one of my passions of using the tea in cooking. And it basically is a spicy version with that orange twist. And I use it in the gingerbread cake.
Wow.
It's really,
you
really
make
yummy.
cake with the tea as well.
I make cake with the tea. You just use it as a tea concentrate.
Wow. So
Fantastic.
now that huge Florida orange that's in that tea there. How does that translate into the taste of the tea?
Well, basically, it'll get infused with the hot water. The hot water will pull out the flavors that's in it. It's dried.
Right.
So basically, it will keep as many of the oils in it as possible. So you'll get oil, and you'll probably have even some oil in the tea on the top of it.
Right.
Don't be afraid of that, because it's just the orange and natural oils of the cardamom and the orange.
Okay.
So let's try this. So basically, black tea is at a full rolling boil. So it's 212. I've got to get my temperature here, 212 or 100 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so that's fully boiling water for black tea?
Yeah, for black tea.
Okay.
It just really helps extract the black tea's flavor out of it. And then this one has some cardamom in the orange as well, so that's for sure.
Right.
And you want to do it for minimum 4.5 minutes to 5 minutes. So we pre-brewed this. We don't have to sit and watch time fly and have the tea go. But this basically is brewed.
Wow,
and,
look at that color there.
This one's maybe a little lighter than your traditional black tea,
right?
Because it's got lots of other things in it. But it's a really nice. You can get the.
You could already get the smell. That nice, yeah.
It is, and the interesting thing, I'm actually reading a book right now called Taste. It's a fascinating book. But anyway, it's a very interesting book too. I'm gonna, in my book that I'm writing, I'm putting some parts of some learnings from this in there. But it's talking about how you actually don't taste. You taste only 5 sense. I think we all know that, the sour, sweet, salty, umami. You taste those on your tongue.
Right.
And the rest is through your nose, so your olfactory glands. So a great test to do, is really fun to do, is take a jelly bean.
Okay.
Especially one of those really fruity ones from, whatever
like
brand.
Those gourmet ones,
those gourmet ones. Try those. Try one. Don't look at it, so you won't have a hint of what it is. Plug your nose and chew it. The only thing you will taste is sweet.
Really?
The only thing you will taste is sweet.
So you say this is kind of what helps us distinguish?
Unplug your nose and you'll tell what flavor it is.
And is that the same with tea?
It's basically the same. It's just going to show that the flavor rolls around and comes back up into those other glands, and that's where you get a lot of your taste sensation. It's from your smell.
That sounds pretty amazing. Now, I don't think we're saying walk around drinking your tea like this all day.
No, because you want to taste it.
Exactly.
Otherwise you wouldn't.
But I'm sure it would help. Awesome.
Well, that's another reason why people, professional tea tasters or whatever, if they were sick, they don't bother. There's no use coming in.
That's right.
Because you can't taste, and when you're sick and you can't taste as well, and your nose is all plugged up, it's all the same connection.
My goodness, my goodness.
Isn't that cool? Wow. But anyway, I thought it's a fun test to do with the jelly bean.
I think I'll be trying it today.
To try it.
Yeah. People might think I look weird.
Cheers to I don't know if you're going to try some, but
yes, definitely will.
It's just a nice light kind of spicy, orangey citrus.
It gives off a kind of citrusy baked taste to it. Like
sure.
What am I tasting? Is it more the black tea or is it more the ingredients? Do you mind if I have another sip?
No, of course. It's the black tea with the cardamom as the spice notes you'll taste. The pink peppercorns. When you add pepper to any flavoring, it helps enhance the flavors. Just like when you're cooking, when you add pepper, it helps enhance. So it's the same theory in the tea. And then the orange is just a nice little citrus note. And that's why it's a little bit lighter color, because of the citrus you're getting out of this one with a lot of orange in it.
Yeah, that is an amazing taste.
It is, but it's really nice because that's what black tea will give you. It'll give you so many more flavor nuances than for me, boring old cup of coffee.
Right, exactly.
So much more excitement in tea.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just all kinds of different adventures coming out of that cup.
And another exercise to do if you're not sure, if you really believe me about the time, try and brew a black tea to only, a tea bag traditionally, we want to put it in as convenience. That's why the tea bag was made, for convenience.
Just
in the World's Fair, that's how it got its existence. And it basically is so that you can get out the door in a minute and a half, but you could never brew a full leaf tea in black for a minute and a half. It just would have no body to it.
Right.
And this one probably actually could have been brewed at least a minute longer, and it would have had a little bit more flavor to it. So interesting exercise is to try a black tea 1.5 minutes, like you would a tea bag, and then try it for a full 5. You will, huge amount of difference.
Wow.
That you will get the actual flavors extracted, because a black tea is baked and toasted, and it's all kind of tight, and it needs some hot water to
kind of let it open up.
Exactly.
So now, would you say then, for our tea drinkers or those who might be thinking about getting into tea, have we been cheating ourselves with not knowing the right times and temperatures for tea?
Absolutely. I think I could almost say at least 90% of the time, and the reason that people say I don't drink green tea, I don't like tea, it's it's because of the time or temperature. It's almost 100%. They've either brewed green tea way too hot, so it basically burns the leaves. And so then you'll never get that back. It burns the leaves, and then they're done.
So it's that scorched, more bitter taste. A lot of people, when I talk to people about tea, they say, I hate green tea especially. And I say, the first thing I say is, why? Why do you hate it? And they say, I get this dry ashiness on my tongue. So it's the temperature of the tea.
It's more likely the temperature because if we're all drinking the water at the same, it's more when you travel, you'll notice that water. But it's definitely, if you have the choice to do tea, tap water or bottled water. If I was having special people over, I'd do the bottled water.
For the special people.
If they're not so special, maybe they get tap water.
Exactly.
So you'll know what, when you come over, I'll do bottled water.
I have to judge it based on the water. Awesome.
But basically, I think that's what it is. It's they're just scorching those leaves, and then that's all you're going to get out of it. It's bitter, and you can't turn back. Like you can't go, I'll rebrew that. Those leaves are burnt, basically. So you've got to, start again.
The bittersweet truth with Raelene Gannon.
Sure.
Now we have a tea-licious demonstration here, and I think we got some more coming up soon. Raelene Gannon, learning a lot. Daniel Lewis, your host. On Today and Tomorrow, begin with tea. And welcome back. This is Today and Tomorrow Begin with Tea. I'm your host, Daniel Lewis, and I'm having a yummy, delicious time with Raelene Gannon, sipping some beautiful tea. Now, Raelene, right before the break, we were talking to the viewers about some of the temperatures and time with brewing tea, and we're really getting rid of that bitter taste that a lot of you might, experience when you're brewing your green tea, especially. I think we have another demonstration here, Raelene. You want to talk a bit about that?
This one is a green tea because I find that's what most of the hype is about. A lot of people are talking about the green tea, and people really want to embrace those healthy benefits, and we do too. We want them to too. High in antioxidants, green teas, so it's very good for you.
Right.
And even though it's hot right now, we can always do cold brewed, and so you can always have iced tea. So any of these, most of these, not every single tea you can brew cold that you brew hot.
Right.
But anyway, this is a really nice one to go with. Now this one is called Auntie's Garden. It's one of my favorites.
Auntie's Garden.
Auntie's Garden. It has rhubarb and raspberries in it, and it's really nice, kind of light fruity, but it's really nice. I named it after my aunt's garden that we used to go there in the summers, and we had all these things in her garden. So it just reminded me of that. So when I was bringing it, that's what I named it.
There you go.
So basically, green tea, be very careful with the time. It's better to underbrew than overbrew.
Oh, okay.
So if you're not sure, pull it off, pull the strainer out. I'm the worst culprit of this. You've really got to set your timer. It's just such a great habit to get into, because once you do, then you'll start to, we're all distracted by other things, even though we're supposed to be enjoying our tea and brewing it and settling down.
But now with all the technology, everything. And,
life happens and you get distracted and you don't. So really be careful about that temperature.
Right.
Set your kitchen timer on your microwave or your stove, or get the little temperature timers I've got.
Yeah.
You can even use your iPhone if you're connected to it. Use your phone or your BlackBerry, your timer. Everything's got a timer on it.
Right.
So it's very important. So this is about 2 minutes. Now, green teas will range from 1.5 to 3 minutes, but I always do 2, and then it's always you're better safe than sorry.
So 2
kind of
is
thing.
kind of a safeguard.
It is. So this one, we're going to pour our temperature for green tea. I usually do it at about 85 degrees, which I have to cheat here, 185 Fahrenheit. So we're just going to put that in.
Okay.
And also the amount of tea, we didn't talk about that yet. It's basically about 2.5 grams.
2.5 grams. So what does that look like?
Right. That's 2.5 grams per 6 or 8 ounce cup, not your big, like these red mugs.
Right.
No, we're talking just a 6 or 8 ounce cup. And basically, if you don't have a scale, which I know us teas, aficionados or enthusiasts have, if you go with a teaspoon for a black tea or a smaller leaf tea, and do a tablespoon for a larger or a white tea, that's basically the safeguard. You can try and use that.
Right.
Also, if you don't have a kettle that won't brew to the proper temperature, every kettle goes to 212 or full rolling boil.
Yes.
That's what they're all. That's what they're all about.
Built to do.
But if you don't have a probe thermometer, which you can get very easily at any kitchen store, to check your temperature. If you're somewhere and you're at a friend's house and you want to bring them some tea and you still want to enjoy it at the right temperature, let the kettle boil and then let it rest for about 5 minutes.
So actually open it up and let it.
You can open it up if you want, or just let it sit in the kettle for about 5 minutes, and then when you're brewing, it'll also cool a little bit more. So it gives
okay.
you some time to get it down to the temperature. So that's usually a safeguard to do if you want. If full rolling black, you can do right away.
Okay.
But if you do a green, let it rest about 5 minutes.
Okay.
So that's just kind of a good. At someone else's house.
Yeah.
Also, if you're not sure and you can't remember the scale, white tea is a lighter color tea.
Right.
And so it's more delicate, let's say, so it gets less higher, it's a lower temperature.
So lower temperature for white tea.
Black tea is darker, fuller, more robust. It can handle a boiling.
Right.
So then it gets the full boil. So as you go from green, or some white to green to oolongs,
right.
to black, and to herbals, you go up the temperature scale.
That's pretty easy, pretty simple.
And here's the teas as I've actually put them here. White tea right through to the full rolling boil. So this is the same scale. I color my teas so that it's easier for people to identify what type of tea it is.
Right.
But the blue is the white, and so that will be the lower temperature. And then up to the herbals and the black, they will all be full rolling boil.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm starting to smell this tea. Is it almost ready?
I think it is. Let's try it.
Okay.
So this one.
Oh, a lot lighter than the last tea that we
This probably needs a little bit more time, or I might have not put enough tea in for the amount of water.
Okay.
That's another thing. If you do want, it's a really great hint. For black tea, people that say, I really want it stronger, I don't know if you've heard the old adage that I put it, I think the Irish thing is that you put it in your, put the tea, let it brew as long as so your spoon will stand up in it. That's strong.
There you go.
That's an old Irish kind of way to brew the tea. But really, honestly, don't brew it longer, brew it more concentrated. So put more tea to water. Don't brew it longer.
Really?
So that's kind of a really big myth, that you just keep the tea bag in and keep brewing it.
Taste?
Totally will. And so if you like it stronger, just make sure there's more tea to water ratio.
Okay.
Keep it brewed still the 4.5, 5 minutes.
Right.
But, so that's really a good way to do on the black tea. You didn't mention that there. So this is a really nice, this will be a light, it's a sencha base. It's a little light, but this is actually the
nice.
tea. And you'll see a lot of the pieces in here. There's the...
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, there's the raspberry pieces in there, and the rhubarb flavor and that.
And the green tea, that's a sencha, really rolled tight.
Right,
wow.
That's a long leaf sencha, so you can kind of get one there.
Wow.
But it's a really lovely, nice, light fruity.
Now,
and this one does make a nice
fruity taste. I was just going to say,
make a nice iced tea as well.
Wow. So with the same, would the iced tea now give the same type of flavor with a tea like this?
It should. Just be cold.
Just be cold. And now, am I using more tea to get like an iced tea out of this?
Right.
Or? Wow. This is.
I need one more sip. But
gotta take some time for tea.
It's nice. For cold brew, the best way to do it is take a liter pitcher, do half cold water, half ice, put your 2 tea or 3 tea bags in there, or at least 10 to 15 grams of tea or tablespoons, so a little bit more because you've got the ice in there.
Right.
Put it in the fridge overnight or in the morning, and then by lunch it'll be brewed and you'll have a great cup of tea or iced tea, throw out your tea bags and you're good to go.
Just like that,
just
like that. One step at a time, we are making the perfect cup of tea with Raelene Gannon. And I don't know, but I'm kind of hoping we could hurry and get to the break so I could finish up this cup of tea here. Tastes delicious, and you are learning step by step how to make sure your tea is the perfect cup every single time. And after the break, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about a tea called oolong. And what's the name? It's
Wooey Rock Oolong.
Wooey Rock Oolong. After the break, Raelene Gannon and Daniel Lewis, your host. Today and tomorrow begin with tea. And hello there, I am Daniel Lewis, your host on Today and Tomorrow Begin with Tea. And today we are here with our teacher, Raelene Gannon, and she's teaching us all about different types of tea, time, and temperature. And boy, is it a mouthful. We actually got to taste some beautiful teas. Raelene, it's been beautiful having you on the show. And I think we are going to talk about a tea that I don't know if a lot of people know about it. You want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, oolong is that category in the middle. It kind of catches in between black and green tea. It's called oolong. And so on the dark side of it is Wooey Rock type oolongs.
Okay.
And then on the lighter side is maybe a Tai Kwan Yin type oolong. You'll hear a lot about that. They call that the slimming tea. I don't know really why. It's kind of more of a marketing thing too, because all tea is good for you and all tea will help your metabolism.
Right.
But anyway, there are these two spectrums, and here we're showing the leaf here. This one is the Wui Rock Oolong, which is closer to a black tea, so it's been fired and heated, closer to the manufacturing process of a black tea.
Right.
And then this one here is more of a Tai Kwan Yin Oolong,
So it's
which
more
is
rolled there, right?
It's rolled. So this one will be rolled in circles more in your hand, because these are all hand done, and then the Wui Rock will be more like twisted, so it'll be more like this.
So that's why they're shaped that way.
That's why they're
There you
shaped
go.
that way. But this, and the beautiful thing about oolongs is they have multiple steepings. So there is a, kind of a legend or whatever that you can steep oolongs up to 7 times. So talk about getting your money's worth.
Whoa.
Yes, up to 7 times. So it's really getting your money's worth. Now, of course, the first steeping to the 7th steeping will taste totally different.
Yeah.
But you can enjoy it, and really you can enjoy tea as much as you do like it. But the rule of thumb that we haven't really spoken about is black teas are really kind of a one-shot deal.
Right.
You brew them, then they're done.
That's it.
You can't really brew them again. Green teas, there are some green teas, some gyukuro, which is a Japanese tea that can be brewed perhaps a second time or whatever. But oolongs can be up to 7, so you're really getting your money's worth. Some of them are a little bit more expensive, but you're really getting, if you can brew them 7 times, you're getting more tea out of it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we learned about white tea, we learned about green tea, black tea, and oolong. Now you said the name of this one was?
Wui Rock. It's a name of a
Wui
mountain.
Rock.
It's Wui Mountains in Taiwan.
Sounds like something Fred Flintstone would drink. But Wui Rock, and then we also have that one there.
Tai Kwan Yin.
Tai Kwan Yin. Now I'm sure you learned a whole lot of information about tea, times, and temperature today. Our wonderful teacher is the one to thank, Raelene Gannon. It was a pleasure having you on the show. I think even myself, I'm going to go home and try some Wui Rock, Wilma. And it's been great. I'm your host, Daniel Lewis. Another beautiful episode. Today and tomorrow begin with tea. Don't miss it. We have a lot more in store for you. Take care.